recording again. I'm not sure what happened there. That was a little bit a little strange there, but we got it all up and running. So let's go ahead and get started. Julie, no, it is not Windows 10, but that's ironic that it just happened like that. All right. I think that was more Windows 10 user error than anything else because I actually clicked out of the Go to Webinar Meeting tab, which I think is why it kicked me out. So Julie, it was in Windows 10. All right. Let's see. Jake, fiance, has ordered a shirt for me. He has the center field for use. Nice, Kate. That's awesome. And especially with the Houston Astros, great season they're having. So that's a pretty cool order there, Kate. Congratulations. All right, guys. So I have been using transparency too lately. Okay. Yep. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get started here. Now, first couple of things I want to show you guys. I know some of you guys had some questions on what the difference was between open and import. All right. Rangers. There you go, Terry. But so basically, the big difference is when you go to open, the only files that you can open are files that were saved as in CorelDraw. So if I created a file and I did a save as, then it was going to go ahead and save the file as a CDR file, which is a CorelDraw file. All right, and in that case, I want to go ahead and open. So let's say I open this CDR file right here, the TRU Decal Fundraiser Pack. Now, the reason why it shows up again because I have CDR selected. So if I was looking for EPS file, you're not going to find it in here. All right, so I can go in here and double click on my file right there, and there it is. So there's my CDR file. Now I can go in here and work with my file. All right, but again, those are files that are saved as in CorelDraw, which makes them a CDR or a CorelDraw file. If you're trying to bring in an EPS file that you purchased from the website, or the SVG file type, or the PNG file type, in that case, we're going to go to File, Import. All right, so now you'll see all the different options that I have here. On the right-hand side here, I can also choose my file type. So if it's a different type of file that you're trying to bring in, you can select that file, and that's going to pop open right there. Then we can go ahead and double-click. So let's say we want to bring in this TRW Apple. I can double-click on that, left-click, and there's my design. So this is what you would get if you purchase a design from the website. It will come just like this, like you see it. Now, one thing I can show you guys real quick here, just to save you some materials. Notice that when we brought this in, we have the kind of the leaf up here, we have the stem up here. But notice how those two parts of the design aren't really touching. They're not really connected to the rest of it. So technically, I can create the trains for that and just basically eyeball it in there without having to waste all this material here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ungroup it. So if I right-click, I can go ungroup. And then I can go ahead and just click on my apple or on my template right here with the leaf. And let's just go ahead and make that smaller. So that way we don't have to waste all that material. Or I can go ahead and just grab that here and just bring it right over here to the top if you want to. But basically what we're doing is just trying to save material in this case. Because again, it's not connected. So this wouldn't be too difficult at all at the end to actually just eyeball it in there. Same with the stem here. Because otherwise you're cutting this whole entire flock piece here for just these couple stones here, okay, for these few stones right there, which wouldn't make any sense. That's costing you a lot of money. It's not going to be beneficial to you guys. So save some materials, bring these closer together, and that way you can cut it like that and create a smaller transfer that you can go ahead and eyeball in there to make things a lot easier for you guys and also to save material and money. All right, so you can go there, and then we'll go ahead and bring this here. So just right there, that's probably saving you about a foot of sticky flock material just right there, just by doing that short little trick there. And then you can go ahead and send these to your cutters. So this is exactly what you will see if you guys go ahead and purchase a design from our website, if it's a SVG or EPS file type. A couple other things I want to show you guys is under the View option up here. Very important is our wireframe. Now again, we have these features here, so if you have the software, they're going to be right here for you. So this is our wireframe and enhanced. But wireframe is going to be very useful, especially when you're getting ready to actually send your design over to your cutter. So let's type out something like, let's type out the word baseball. Obviously, that's one we use quite often. But I like it because when I create a brush script with this, it's going to do the effect that I want it to do. So this is the one time I'm probably going to use the wizard is when I go use my fonts, just because I feel like it's a little bit easier to find the fonts with the wizard. So what I'm going to do is just type in brush script real quick and convert this into my brush script. Now that I have my script selected, and let's say I'm ready to send this design over. So I have my text out. Let's say this is exactly what we're gonna do. This is the mascot we're gonna do, or the team name or the team logo. But there's one thing that you can't see in this view that you can see in the wireframe. This is why wireframe is important to take a look at before you actually send your design over your cutter. So let's go to wireframe and zoom in and see what we're working with here. So even though it was a brush script, Again, I zoom in here, and what we have is these letters are actually overlapping because these fonts aren't actually meant. They're not created to be able to cut with. These are just meant to be able to use as text. So when I zoom in, notice how they're kind of poorly made where the letters are overlapping. So if I did send this to my cutter, all this right here is going to overlap and it's going to not cut correctly. So you're going to see a big opening right there when you cut this out. And it's just going to look obviously strange and not professional. So we got to do a couple things in order to be able to, actually not a couple things. We just got to do one quick thing here to be able to fix this text or this script font here to make sure that it's all flowing together and there's no overlapping letters like we see here. All right, so in that case, we're going to go to our object tab up here. And under objects, we have shaping tool. All right, so halfway down, you'll see a little bit over halfway down, you'll see shaping tool. And then we see weld. All right, let's go ahead and select weld and see what that does. So there it goes. Now that we welded it, bam, look at that. Now we're flowing smooth. There's no overlapping letters. So that design right here would be ready to send to my cutter. Obviously, we're going to have to mirror this if we're working with HDB vinyl. If we're not, we're going to go ahead and just send this as FTC, or if we're working with signed vinyl. All right. So that's an importance of being able to work with that wireframe. And another way to another really important way to use it is if you're working with a rhinestone design. Sometimes you'll notice when you're creating a mockup with the TRU Stone Wizard, if it freezes up the mockup feature, it's because there might be some overlapping stones that you might not see, or there might be some different objects in that design that you can't see with enhanced view. So you want to go to that wireframe view, and that's going to show you those different hidden particles in that design. When you have to save as double cut, how do you get both yellow templates to move at the same time without making the stones get smaller? So let me see what you're saying there. So let me go ahead and bring out the wizard again. So Terry's question was, if I have a double cut feature, so let's say I have this design right here, and again, I'm sorry guys for bringing out the wizard, but just real quick, Terry's question was, how do we move those together? So let's say we did the hatch fill, all right, and then let's clear my paths right here, make my stones black. So, all right, so let's say we have this design right here, and we want to go ahead and create our double stone 2+ cut, right? So one thing I would do is, so you're saying move this one and this one simultaneously, right? So because we are able to use the same tool feature back here, it's going to select all the yellow. So see how it moves both of them? So now I can go ahead and just downsize that if I need to. All right. So all I did was just be using my select same colors tab up here. It allowed me to select both of those colors, and now I can drag those down without changing the actual stones. All right, Terry. Now, of course, that's actually working with the TRW Stone Wizard there. So if you don't have that wizard, you are going to have to take some extra steps to be able to do that. All right. So that's the quickest way. Hey, Terry, it's one of those things that once you see it, then you're like, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, using that tool right there, because it's not just, and again, the software that we're working with here is a TRW Stone Wizard, but it's so versatile that it's not just for stones, and people forget that sometimes. So they think, hey, this select all same color stones only works for the stones, but it doesn't. It actually works for your vinyl colors as well. The only time it won't work is if you have the vinyl colors already in that in the magic vinyl. In that case, it won't work. You still have to have the color selected there in the TRW Stone Wizard. Tasha, can you review the B-spline tool? I was trying to trace it. Yes, Tasha, I did see that earlier. I saw your comment earlier, and I will be able to. I'll cover the B-spline tool as well. And Stephanie, yes, I use it for everything. Yes, absolutely. It's a very useful tool there that select all same color. All right, so moving on. So obviously that's our shaping tool there. Now we have some other different features in this shaping area right here that we can use. So the next I want to show you guys is intersect. So intersect is actually one we use quite often, especially when we're creating our custom mockups. So let me go ahead and bring in here. Let's say I bring in this baseball here. So this is actually a PNG file. And let's say I want to go ahead and create a heart design. All right, so let's go ahead and create a heart design. And now this would work if we're creating a mockup again. So say this is a t-shirt, or this is a sweatshirt design, or just a PNG of a sweatshirt or a hoodie. I can trace that hoodie, and let's say I have a heart design. So basically, let's go ahead and use it in ellipse. So let's say I have this circle here, right? So I traced my circle or my design there, and now all I want to do is make sure I place that baseball perfectly inside of this new tracing I just did here, okay? So to do that, I can go ahead and highlight my design. Now this is going to select both the baseball and the circle, and then I can go to Object, I can go to shaping and then intersect, and now look what happens. So there's my baseball that we just created. Now, because right here, notice how I have the square. So let's go back to my wireframe. And notice here, my original design has the square around it. So now what I did is actually just placed that image inside of my vector file that I created, which was that circle now. So now I can go ahead and add this to my wizard, and it's going to look really nice when I try to place a custom text in there. So let's say I was working with, if I wanted to add this to my software for a mockup, and I wanted to just create this area right here so I can customize this with sign vinyl, this is one way you can do that. So this is how you can create a custom mockup real quick just by using your tracing tools and then the intersect tool. All right. So again, it's and the only thing with this part right here that we can't really work with is the vectorizing, because right now, if I go back to my wireframe, notice that the only thing that will cut out right now is this circle on the outside. All right. So if you did have a good image and you wanted to do maybe sublimation, then that would work because you got your image there. But if you wanted to cut this in a vinyl cutter, it won't work. It only cut the circle on the outside, but it does work great for the custom mockups in our software, and also if you're doing some different print jobs, that's a great tool there as well. All right. The other one I want to show you guys is our trim tool. So trim is actually pretty useful tool that we use quite often, especially nowadays that we're doing a lot of different multi-deck designs and multi-layer designs with the glitter vinyls. So let's say we type out football. All right. So let's say we have the word football. And we want to go ahead and let's go ahead and add a layer. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this out just to make things a little bit quicker. And let's say we have a couple layers created. All right, so here's one layer. All right, so there's one layer created. And then we want to create another layer. So I'm going to go here and just make this, let's say 0.09. All right, so we have our design here. Oh, that's huge. So let's go ahead and shrink that down to a normal size. All right, so we have our two layers created here. All right, so let's make this yellow. And let's make this blue. All right, so let's get rid of the wizard now. So what I have now is 3 layers. But let's say I want to go ahead and have the shirt kind of show through this layer right here. So it's going to be a 2-color design instead of 3. So what I need to do to get rid of this yellow tab there, but basically keep this one, the blue tab, or the blue layer, and then my black layer as well. Then in that case, we're going to use our trim tool. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select that yellow layer here, and then I'm going to go ahead and shift click on the blue layer. So what I have selected now is these 2 layers that I created just now with the TRU Stone Wizard. Okay, so I have those 2 layers right there. Then I can go to my object. I'm going to go to shaping, and then we're going to go ahead and do trim, and look what happens. So it doesn't look like it did much, but if I drag my yellow out now, look at this. So now we have the shirt showing through. Drag out the blue and see what happened. It used that yellow layer to basically create a trim job in that area right there. So now, because we did a little bit of overlap, or excuse me, a little bit of an extra layer right there, now we have that opening right there for my shirt to shine through. All right. So that's how we would use the trim, and that's also how we do you see where we do the football mom designs or the baseball mom designs, where we're using the script text on the bottom here with a little bit of a gap in between the text and the script text is by using that trim tool there. All right, so that's actually a very useful tool, especially to give some more depth to the design. If you want to add a little bit more oomph to the design, that's a good tool to use right there because it's very simple to use, but it completely converts this simple Arial font into now a pretty cool looking kind of a 2 different layer font, even though it doesn't have to be, because I can go ahead and here make this black if I wanted to, and then combine both of these. So right now, if I try to move the inside out, see how I can drag it out, but the other part stays behind. So what I would have to do is I can go here and I can do a combine. And once I combine it, now look what happens. See that? So that basically converted that into a new kind of style font there with the inside showing there. And if you're working with a Rhinestone software, we're able to actually add stones to this inside right here with that original path that we had created. All right, and that's again using that trim tool. And we do have some videos that show you exactly how to use that, how to be able to create that type of design with the stones in the middle. Stefan, how do you create layers without the wizard? Very good question. So we do have right here, let's say we have a square right here. I can go up to the top right here to my effects and do a contour. And then right here we can do different layers right here. So I can do 5, and that's going to add different layers. You see that? So again, that's effects, contour, and then that's going to bring up your window up here. So a lot of these different tools up here, a lot of different features up here are going to pop up a new window here, almost like a Docker. And then you can use that Docker with different options to be able to do different things in there. So let's say I want to go ahead and make this outside layer right here. Let's say I want to make those corners rounded. See how we can go here and make those rounded? So I can go ahead and apply that, and it's going to make those corners it's connected right now. I have to ungroup it all and break it apart. But once I did that, once I was able to break it apart, then it's going to make those round corners right there into a round edge rather than those sharp corners. But that's how you would create the outer layers or extra layers by using the CorelDraw, not the TRW Stone Wizard. All right. Stephanie, how do you create the custom color overlays like the mockups to advanced? Not sure what you're saying there, Stephanie. What do you mean by the mockups? Are you saying when we have the transparency, that kind of that layer on top of it, that transparency layer? Is that what you're saying, Stephanie? Yeah, and that's the transparency tool. We just use our tools right down here. Let me see where it's at. Right here. So the transparency tool is going to allow you to do all that. I think it is right here. So that transparency tool is how we were able to accomplish that kind of that faded look, the top layer, to be able to create a watermark. That's how we were able to do that. Monica, that's a great question. Monica's question was, how do you fix when you have a word, then you combine, the whole turns black? I have to go to all the inner circles and bring them forward. Monica, I know a better way to fix that. So Monica's question was, let's say we had our text tool right here, all right? And let's say we typed out cheer, or you know what, let's type out soccer. So let's say we do this, type out soccer, and then right-clicked on it, and then we convert it to curves, and then basically broke it apart. So this is the question right here. Say we have this instant happen right here. How do we make these come back? So basically, how do we make that inner cavity come back up? So instead of going back and forth, instead of going here and then go in order and then to back a page, you don't want to do that. What you want to do is go here and then just simply do a combine, and that does it for you. All right, so select that letter, hit combine, and that combines it back, so you don't have to worry about bringing that back to the front and then simplifying it out. That's the long way to do it. Just go ahead and do a combine, and that brings it back to normal. Heather, how to create an outline with text and an outline that can be changed another name easily. Now, Heather, once you create that second outline, that's a whole different layer, so you're not going to be able to change that second layer. All right, so in order to be able to change the text, you can go here. So one easy way to change text is, now this is our text tool right here, the A. And now 2 ways to use the text tool is if I click on the little down arrow, that little arrow down here at the bottom right corner, I can use my text tool here, and I can just left click and start typing, or I can create a box, and then I can type in that area right there that I created the box. All right, but this is a question you're asking. One quick way to change that text. So let's go here. Actually, you know what? Let me get to that in a second, because I know what I'm going to do when I change it to show you that. I'm going to show you how to do the fit text to path feature, and then I'll show you a quick way to change that text. All right. Stephanie, I'm trying to change the color of a custom shirt style, but I need the option to change the color of the shirt. Stephanie, now in that case, if you're talking about a custom mockup, if it was your custom mockup that you created, there's a good chance you don't have the program to be able to change the shirt. So that would have to be, you would have to bring in the shirt that color already, because we do use a third program, a separate program, to be able to kind of give it that third color look, or be able to interchange the colors for the mockup. When used with a heart design, outline of heart has name in it. Heather, that's a little bit more detailed, and shoot me an email. I can tell you kind of how to do it, but that's going to be a little more complex than what we want to cover today. All right, I see what you're saying though, Heather. I know what you're saying, but that would be a lot more complex. All right, we still want to keep it towards more the beginner stage, where so I don't want to confuse everybody. All right, but I do see, Stefan. Is there a view layers option in CorelDraw? Now there is some layers that you can work with, Stefan. Now in some cases, with what we're trying to do here with the vector files, it's almost easier not to use the layers though, because you're not working with too many layers. You're only working at the most with 4 or 5 colors at the most. So the layers, it's not going to be so much of a big issue like if you're working with Photoshop, where you have all the different layers that you're working with. All right, so let's go ahead and keep moving here. Let's go ahead and keep moving. Now, another question we always get brought up is how do we trace an image? So how do I bring a design into CorelDraw and trace it? All right, so there are different tools that we can use in CorelDraw to be able to accomplish that. Because CorelDraw is a software that allows us to vectorize an object, so we can basically bring in a PNG file and use some of the tools in here to convert it into a file that we can work with and that we can go ahead and send to our cutter, and it's going to recognize those cut lines. So let's go ahead and bring in this Eiffel Tower right here. So I have the Eiffel Tower image right here, and I want to go ahead and trace this. Now, this is the one thing. If you're tracing something like this, I will, you can get away with going up here to your trace bitmap. If you're tracing a little something more intricate, more complex, I would just recommend tracing it by hand because there's going to be a lot more editing towards the end than there would be if you just traced it all by hand. And you'll see what I mean here when we trace this out. So big thing with this is notice if I don't have the PNG image selected, at the top here we just have our standard settings, all right? But if I click on my PNG image here, notice that now we have our options up here of edit bitmap or trace bitmap, all right? So the edit bitmap is going to take me to my Corel photo paint. So we don't want to do that right here. Now, if you're working with multiple colors, a lot of different colors, and you want to gray it out, then you know what? You can take it to Photoshop, or excuse me, photo paint, and and you can do some different things here to clean up the background or clean up the image. But of course, that's a whole different segment. All right. If we just want to go ahead and trace this Eiffel Tower here image, we can just go to trace bitmap here, and then you got some different options. So you can do a quick trace. So if I left click on the quick trace, it's just going to trace it real quick for me. Let's go ahead and right click and ungroup it all and see what we're working with. So take away the background, and there's just my quick trace. So you can see right there, it just traced it for me. Oh, let me go ahead and go back because there's something. So you can see the white right there is actually part of it. So basically what it did with that quick trace, it just kind of traced a quick design real quick for us. Didn't allow us to really do any editing while we were tracing it. And that's a big difference with quick trace and one of our different traces down here. So let's say I want to do an outline trace and I want to do a low quality image trace. Now look at all the different options I got to work with here. So here I can select my detail, so I can change the detail a little bit. I can change my smoothing around some. So this is basically going to clean up the design. Notice if you go too far, obviously that distorts the image. It doesn't really look like the tower anymore. But if I go down to the smoothness, now it fixes it up some. I can also do the corner smoothness if I don't think the corners are looking just the way I want them to look. And of course, you can always do delete original image, remove the background. If you don't want to remove the background, we can do that, and it's not going to remove the background. But let's just go and have that selected. I always like to just remove it so I don't have to worry about it later on. So once we're done, we're going to go ahead and hit OK. Now also down here, it shows you how many nodes it has, the colors. So I know that white is a color because it's telling me right here it has two colors, and I know I changed already. I took away the background, so there has to be another color in here. So obviously that white right there is going to be your second color. Now obviously also right here, you'll see where we have our different colors. So if this is a multiple color design, if this has like 5, 6, 7 colors, I can also here change those colors, or if I want to delete a color, I can go here and delete the black if I wanted to. So I can go down here and just delete the black, and now all I have left is my white. All right, but let's go back one here. So I just did Control Z there, and notice how I just brought back whatever I undid. Now I can also save that here. At the bottom here, we also have our RGB colors. So that's very important. Obviously, if you're working with your if you know you're working with certain colors of vinyl, that's obviously going to be helpful down there. And then of course, you got your frequency or your set colors or sort colors by. So pretty self-explanatory there when you're working with this. And then you can go around and kind of play around with this, just bring in an image that you have and look at all the different colors and start deleting some of the colors and see what it does for you. Pretty cool little thing there. But also another cool thing I want to show you guys is right here we have our color mode. And if I do the drop down here, we also have some different color palettes already installed in here. So you guys can use a lot of these different color palettes here to help you if there's certain colors you want to work with because they match your vinyl colors or your rhinestone colors, then you can go ahead and use those palettes here. All right, but yeah, again, that's going to be your tracing tool. Again, there's a lot of different things you can do with it. I'd recommend going in here and just kind of playing around with it. Bring in a design that has a lot of colors and see what you can do by taking away some colors and changing the color mode up here and then changing the nodes. So a lot of different things, okay? Again, it's a very useful tool. It's a very quick way to trace a design if you don't want to go the route of actually tracing it by hand using our tracing tools like the B-spline tool or the Bezier tool. All right, so from there, we're going to hit OK. Let's go ahead and drag our new image out of there, and there we go. So there's my new image. We can go ahead and get rid of my original image if we wanted to. But yeah, that would be the quick way to trace a a silhouette design like this. And again, I always recommend if you're gonna do this, it's gonna be in a darker image. You know, if let's say you're working with like a paw design, there's a lot of paws out there. Just look for something that's shaded, you know, dark shade. That when we bring it over, the software is gonna recognize it enough that's gonna recognize all those outer lines and create a really good trace on it. Because you'll notice there's a lot of images that you bring in if it's not very if it's very pixelated like this one is. There's going to be a lot of areas we're going to have to fix up the design or edit the design. All right, which in this case there is. You can see right here, this is not very straight right here, kind of off. So there would be a lot of editing to do to be able to fix this up. All right, and to do that, we use our shape tool. So getting into our basic tools now. So these are basic tools on the left-hand corner here. So here we have our shape tool, the second one down. So the first one is obviously our pick tool. That allows us to pick our designs or objects on the screen here and manipulate them, so we can go here and change the dimensions if we wanted to. But that's obviously one of the main tools that we're going to be using. But to actually be able to edit the vector files or the vector designs, we're going to use our shape tool right here. All right, so to be able to work with that, just go ahead and select the image that you want to work with. Now the big thing is, notice that if I double clicked it, what happened was it just basically allowed me to change the dimensions and just kind of move it around the center point there. The reason it's not allowing me to actually edit the design right here is because I have it all grouped together. All right, so to ungroup it, again, left click on the design, then I can go ahead and right click here and hit ungroup, or I can also go to object up here at the top, and then we're gonna go ahead and group and ungroup. But again, that's the longer way to do it. And also, if you guys look at the right hand corner here, we also have where it gives you the shortcut keys. So this would be Control G would be to ungroup or to group, and then Control U to ungroup. So now that we have it ungrouped, and again, this is that second color that we showed you. So let me go ahead and get rid of those so we don't have those hanging around there. So now look at what happens if I click it once. Notice now we have these nodes. All right, so if I double click it, now we have the nodes here that I can actually go ahead and work with. So double clicking is also going to be the same thing as clicking on the shape tool here. All right, so we're gonna go there, and then I can go ahead and just basically manipulate this design to make it work a lot better, to make it fit the kind of the shape that I wanted to fit. So like right here where we have these two lines, and obviously these are kind of angled. So I can go here and click on both of these nodes, and I can move both the lines up and down now, or left and right. So if I move it to the left, see what happens there. Move it to the right, and that's what's gonna happen there. So now, but if I want to click on just one, so let's go ahead and get rid of this one. And just click on this line right here. Now I can go ahead and move just that part of the design. So again, this line right here, and I can just move it up and down, and now I can line it up. All right, so using my grid line tools up here, I can drag my grid line down, and bam, there it is. So almost perfect. Let's go ahead and click right here. Just bring that one up a little bit, and then that's gonna clip right on there, and now we're good to go. Now you also see the control points here have these kind of these arms or these arrows here. If I grab that arm or that arrow, I can actually also change the properties of that design as well, or that object. And that's all. That is Corel allowed me to do that because we have a vector file and we also have nodes. Now up here at the top, we also have our different node settings. So here we have add a node, reduce a node. We also have some of the different clamps option here to be able to close together a curve or open a curve. So let's say right here we have this area right here. So let's say I want to break that curve apart. If I create that, now we have two different, that's going to break the curve apart. Now, I didn't do it there. I got to create another node, but that's going to break the curve apart for me there. And then you also have all the different ones here, so you can connect it here as well. You can make it into a curve, symmetrical, smooth. So a lot of different things here to play around with that are going to help you with the editing part of the designing. All right. So the shape tool is one that you're going to use quite often, especially once you're vectorizing an object, bringing it in. Either if you're using your tracing tools or if you're using your trace bitmap tool, you're still going to be using that shape tool quite often. All right. Terry, how do you use the reduce node slide? Yes. So the reduce nodes, let's go ahead and double click here, and then we can go here and just reduce it. So we can move the nodes around, but pretty simple. Just click on it, and you can change that. All right, and it's just basically going to start smoothing out the areas. So you'll see where it starts reducing all the nodes, and then you'll see the areas kind of start smoothing it out, kind of a rounded shape. So all these little sharp corners right here are going to be gone because all of a sudden they're going to get reduced. So here, let's say if I get rid of that one. Oh, so I think I got it all grouped together. So let's say if I went here and deleted this node right here. See that it becomes a round. That's what that reduce nodes is also going to do to that every time it deletes a node. All right. So does anyone have any questions in regards to the shaping tool here? Another great use of the shaping tool is when we're working with fonts. All right. So let's say we're working with a font here and we want to type out the text cheer. So we have cheer typed out and we want to go ahead and separate these letters. So let's say we want to create a little bit more space in between each letter. I can also use that shape tool here to change the spacing between each letter. So hit that shape tool right here. Now I have these arrow keys here that I can expand my text, and notice how my letters are becoming further apart, or I can bring it closer together if I wanted to. All right, so I can bring them closer together, expand them if I need to. Another great thing we can do with that shaping tool in this section right here, notice these boxes at the bottom left corner here. If I select one of those boxes, now I can go ahead and move that letter up and down. You see that to the right, so I can go ahead and manipulate that text. So, but the great thing about it is, notice how I do this right here. If I go to my text tool at the top here, and I go to edit, or excuse me, let me see what we want to go to here. I'm just going to use my edit text right here. So edit text right here, and I type in the word now, let's say text. All right, hit OK. And see how it brings it back now? So because I'm still in that text format, I haven't changed around, I haven't converted to curves, so I'm able to still text something, and it's going to change it to that text. All right. So that's the great part about being able to use that shape tool. That doesn't actually interfere with the properties of this particular text right here. It's still in my shape format, or excuse me, my true type in my true type font format. So I'm able to still change the text around. Now, the big difference is if I right click on it and I hit converts to curves now, and then we're going to go ahead and do the, let me go ahead and click here. And then we're going to go ahead and do the break curve apart. Now I can move these around, but notice what happens is I don't have that option to actually change or edit my text because now I completely made these each individual letter into a vector file. All right, so that's a big advantage of being able to use that shape tool rather than breaking it apart and trying to move the letters around that way. All right, so if it is something that you think you're gonna have to change later on, then go ahead and just do the shape tool. Would you be able to use the shape tool to make the text two different fonts? Oh, you're saying let's try it out. So you're saying something like this, right? So let's say we type out TRW, and then you're saying, let's say we want to go ahead and maybe make that middle one there a different text, right? Now, I don't think it's going to work, Tasha. You know, it's actually something I never tried. But let's see. So, yeah, you know, it's not going to work. It's not actually going to. Let's see if we can do here, and then we'll change it to hit OK. Actually, it did work. Look at that. So, but that was actually using my edit tab tool, my edit text, not actually using my shape tool. The shape tool I just did to actually get it out of the way, to actually move it down. But the actual text change I did through the edit change, which is actually right here. And then up at the top, edit text, so you can find it there as well. So if I'm going to change just the W, I can go here, and then we can go a different font. So now we have 3 different fonts going on there. All right. So again, I originally used the Stone Wizard one, but the edit text tool is right up here in the text box, and edit text right here. All right. How do you connect 2 nodes? Monica, one way you can do that, very simple. Let's say we type out the text baseball. And this is actually going to transition very nicely because now I can move into our tracing tools right here. All right, so tracing tools, let's say we type in basketball. So we'll type in the word basketball. And we're going to go ahead and grab, again, that brush script that we used earlier. So let's go ahead and see. Let's go to brush script. This is one of the reasons I like using the wizard a little bit better when I'm using text. All right, so now that we have this here, so let's say we want to go ahead and add a tail to this design. All right, so I'm not very good at drawing the tails, but that's going to kind of transition over and how to add those 2 nodes together, Monica. One of the quick ways to add the 2 nodes is by using the Welding tool, okay? So let's say we're going to use one of our tracing tools. So again, remember I had a question earlier in regards to the B-spline tool, correct? So B-spline tool, very simple to use. Okay, Tasha, perfect. So B-spline tool, I'm gonna go ahead and select it now. The big thing with the B-spline tool, you'll notice it creates almost a preview of what that control point, where that control point is gonna be placed. But in the meantime, it's gonna create a rounded shape of that design in the meanwhile. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let's say I left click to get started, right? And then notice that when I left click down, see what it did there? It created this control point, but it's also creating a curved line to go with it. So I can go back and connect it to that control point, or I can let it go and kind of just play around with the way it's going now because I wanted like a rounded design rather than a straight line design or segmented design there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go around here, and now I'm paying attention to the top here. So now I can go here. Oh, went a little too far back. But it's all right. So let's say we want to go here and then just kind of go back now. So I can go here, and all I'm doing is just dragging my my mouse, not doing anything special. All right, so we got right here, and then we're just gonna connect it right here. All right, so connected. Now notice right now what we have is a really bad tail, but we also have a connected piece right here, but it's not actually connected to the baseball part here at the top. All right, and yes, Tasha, I am left clicking, so everywhere I left click, create a new control point. All right. So a couple things I can do right here. I can go here and just basically drag this out if I wanted to. Double click on it and drag it out if I need to, if I wanted to kind of create something different with this shape here. And bring this up a little bit more. So notice that with these control points, I can actually adjust this design a lot. But another thing that I can do is, again, this is using my shape tool, is notice how we have these previews here, okay? So all these boxes here. So watch what happens if I want to create this kind of design right here. So if I want to go with this right here, rather than this rounded edge, watch this. So I can select on this one. I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to click on this node right here. I'm going to click on this node, and I'm going to click on this node. So all three of these are selected, and you can tell because they're red highlighted, all right? So now I can go to the top here, and notice how we have our two options here. So we have this one right here says clamp control points, or of course the float control point. So this one right here would be floating. This is considered floating right here. All right, so now watch what happens if I do clamp. Bam. So I clamped it. Now it goes to that control point, and now we have a different shape there. All right, so there's my B-spline tool. Now we still need to connect this part to this part right here. So let's just go ahead and bring these together here, and let's show you. Let's go to wireframe and show you what we're working with. So just going to overlap it a tad bit there. We're going to go ahead and select the shift click on my new tail that we created there. So what we have selected is both of these. And now we can go to our object. We're going to go to shaping, and then we're going to do weld. And there it is. So I welded it together. Let's go back to my enhanced view. So view, enhanced. And then what we have here is our design completed. So what do you guys think? See how you can add that tail right there using your shaping tools, and then of course your welding tool to bring it together. Now, of course, if you want to say fix this area up a little bit more, double click on it again, which is going to activate my shape tool. Then I can go here and just basically change that part up. I can do whatever I need to. Oh, what do we do there? Let's go back track a little bit, but I can go ahead and move this around if I need to. See that? Change the shape of it if I don't make that tail a little bit thicker. So basically go here and just widen that a little bit to make it flow. And you can do whatever you need to make that design look a little bit better. Because we're working with that shape tool and those nodes, you really have a lot of freedom to customize and create different things for this design. All right, so pretty cool there, pretty cool features that we can work with to be able to create some cool looking effects and cool designs just by working with some of those different basic tools there. Does anybody have any questions with the B-spline tool or the welding tool there to be able to connect those two nodes? All right, perfect. All right, so moving along, let's go ahead and show you some other cool things here. So the cropping tool, obviously pretty simple to use. That's you're gonna be able to work with if, let's say, we have a design here. So let's say we have this design here, and we want to take out that Rhinestone World part of it and just work with this Rhinestone World part of this design. Let's say I want to go here to my crop tool, and I'm gonna left click and then just kind of drag the mouse, almost like I'm drawing or I'm highlighting over this the Rhinestone World tool there, or that the Rhinestone World text there. And then once I created my box around it, and then I can also drag that box and change it wherever I need to place it to that I need to crop out. So what I want to do now is double click on it, and that leaves me just that section there of that design. So again, that's using that crop tool there to be able to accomplish that. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and move down now. I did want to show you a couple different tracing tools here. So the Bezier tool is pretty cool because it allows me to basically click once and then click again, and it creates a straight line. So click again, another straight line, and I can just keep going back and forth and just creating cool looking effects. Now you can also use the different features there, like the C. You see how I held C? So by holding C, see what I can do now is basically it creates an angle for me. So now I can go here and drop that and then keep going like that. So see how it creates now an angle by using C rather than just left clicking. All right, so, and also if you left click down and you drag, you see what it does now is creates another curve as well. So basically what I can do is go around my design, and just by left clicking down and clicking the C, I can create some cool looking effects. And it works similar to that B-spline tool, but the biggest difference is that it doesn't give me that preview like the B-spline tool does. It's basically creating segments at a time rather than giving you a straight line or a curved line and then creating the segments kind of as a preview that we can go back to and clamp the points to be able to create that kind of looking effect like we have here. All right. Stefan, there is a step there. We do have a cheat sheet that I'll show you here at the end of the webinar. But as always, you can also look at here under your tools. And under tools, we have options. So I'm going to go to my options here. And real quick, I want to show you where we can go to customization and then commands or command bars here. All right. So here we have all the different tools as well. We have all the different features in here. I'm sorry, not customization. I'm sorry, toolbox right here. So here we have all the different toolbars. So if I click on pick tool, it's going to tell me a little bit more about this. It's going to tell me the shortcut keys as well as here. So control is going to constraint. If shift is going to transform from center. All right. So let's say we're working with what were we working with earlier? So the ellipse tool. Again, we can do ellipse, the pie, and you can do some different things to set it up here. So a lot of cool different things you can find in that options under the tools feature there. And you can also set different shortcut keys for the different tools as well. So if you want to basically use this ellipse tool and just select F7 and you want to change that to maybe F8, you can do that under your tools as well here. All right, so under tools is where you can find all that good stuff to be able to save your tool, or excuse me, your different basic tools and basically your tools you're going to be working with most often and most frequently you're going to be able to find in there. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Now the next one I want to show you guys is the text tool, because the text tool is going to be very, very useful, especially when doing a lot of different things. So I know earlier we had the edit text. I already showed how to do the edit text, but I did want to show you guys how to do the add text to a path. So first things first, let's go ahead and type out something here. So let's say we type out cheerleading. So we can do cheerleading. Now notice I type it in lowercase. If I want to change anything to this text right here, again, we can go to my text tool, and I'm going to go here to where it says change case. And here I can change to maybe, let's say I want to do all uppercase, and then click on that, and then it just converts it to uppercase. All right. So now from here, I can go ahead and create a shape now. So let's create a path. So I can use my ellipse tool here, and that's going to be my path right here. All right. So now what I need to do is select the text. I can go back to my text here, my text window up at the top here, and then I'm gonna select my fit text with path tool right here, about a little bit just below the center point there. Select that tool, and then I'm gonna left click on my circle to drop that text right there. All right. Now watch what happens. I can drag around the circle. I can extend it. Now this is all I'm doing is by left clicking and dragging my text. All right. So I can go here. We can go here. Just kind of switch it around. Now to get rid of the circle, I can double click on that circle and hit delete, and now we have the text left over like that. All right, so that's how we work with fit text to path right there. Does anybody have any questions in regards to that fit text to path tool? I know that's one that I know we get a lot of questions of. I know I created a webinar last week actually, working with TrueType fonts that we create with the Rhinestones, and also working with CorelDraw, and that's actually one I showed, was how to bring in a TrueType font text and basically fit it all around a circle and create a design that way. So if you guys haven't watched that webinar, it is posted on our YouTube channel. You can actually go back and watch it, showing you how to create that the fit text to path with Rhinestone files. Tasha, no, I didn't have to convert to path. I just basically double clicked on it and I was able to delete the circle. Terry, okay, back to reshaping the templates, multiple templates. If they're all yellow, when you click select, all of the yellow won't collect all the templates versus the one you're working with. Example, Apple design, if you want to make the double cut leaf. Okay, great question, Terry. Now, Terry, in that case, that's another tool that we have here is actually your design prep tool that we can actually do that with. So let's say we have this design right here. So again, we're going a little off topic here, but pretty good question there. So let me go ahead and fill this in real quick. So we can do here, add stones, fill that in. So basically, Terry's question is, what if we have this design right here, and it's a multiple color design. So we got a couple of different colors here, right? And we separate these. So we'll go here and then do 2 stone. But we only want to choose one of these to actually change the size, right? Terry, you lost sound still? Let me know if you can't hear. I'll be more than happy to repeat this for you. If not, Terry, just give us a call at the office and then we can show you. Okay, back, perfect. So what I can do now is I can go here, highlight my design, I can go to design prep and then process by color. And that's going to select the rhinestones. But see how it's only going to select this part of the design here. All right, so in this case, you can be able to just select that side of it by using this design prep tool here. And again, I went over that as well in the last webinar we created. I actually covered how to use that design prep tool. All right, but that's the one I would use because it allows me to select one part of the design, not both on the screen. All right, so basically it simplifies that selection option. All right, so a couple more things I want to show you guys here before we get going. I know time flies by, and I appreciate everybody asking questions. It's been a pretty quick webinar, actually. It seems like everything flew by, but I do want to show you some other some different tools here that we can work with to help you in the future. So let's say we had real quick. Let's go ahead and bring back. Let me go ahead and bring this tool or this decal pack in real quick because I want to show you one thing real quick here. So ungroup this. I want to go ahead and get rid of all these right here, and we'll just go ahead and leave our little hockey guy here. So let's say now you guys have seen all those. You guys have obviously seen the split image designs that we just came out with not too long ago. So pretty quick to make those. But let's go ahead and just show you one thing I want to show you here on a little trick here. So let's say we have this design right here. All right, so let's go move this to the back. So right click order to the back. So one way to be able to split, let's say we want to split this rectangle right here in half. Let's say we have our image right here. So this is our silhouette that if we want to go ahead and create a silhouette of, let's say, somebody's kid that was swinging a baseball bat. I know Matt did that a couple of months ago when we were doing that. Basically traced his son swinging a baseball bat and was able to create this split image design. But this is exactly how we did that split image design. All right, so we get the silhouette image here. Now notice what I did is kind of have it hanging off the top there, and also it's going to be hanging off the bottom here as well. So just a tad bit hanging off. So now we got these two areas separated. All right, so from here we use the Smart Fill tool right down here. All right, now the Smart Fill tool, if you're working with X6, it's going to be up here closer to the top. But that Smart Fill tool, watch how cool this is. So if I left click on the left hand corner, on the left hand side right here of the player, watch this. It only changes that color there. Because I was able to put the silhouette all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom here, it only colored that part of that box there. So it just created a new layer with just the green. All right, so I can go here and just select that green. And now let's go to the top here and change the color to pink. So there it is. Now I can go here, select, hold shift, click on my player, hold shift, and then click on my box on the outside, drag this out. And there, oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to click shift and grab our green right there. So there it is. Peel that off, and there's my image right there. So I can delete the guy if I wanted to in the middle, and that would be your split image there. All right. Now here's what I want to show you guys though. So that was how to create that split image design. All right. So that's again using that Smart Fill tool. Have you guys worked with that Smart Fill tool? Stefan, how do you split an object like a football in half and put text between them? Not sure, Stefan. Stefan, give us a call at the warehouse. We can answer that question for you. I think what you're meaning is basically creating, if you have a football design and you want to place a design in the middle. So let's say we have this design right here. Okay, actually, you know what? I think I know what you're talking about, Stefan. I can show you here in a second. So let's say we have this design right here, and then we want to basically cut that through the middle. I got what you're saying. So let's say this was actually, so we have this design created right here, right? So what happens if I want to go ahead and create an outline of this right here? So just create an outline, but add stones to it. So if I wanted to basically add a row of stones to the outside here, all right, using one of our, using our software, or if you have another software, if we're gonna add an outline of stones, what can I do right now to do that? All right, normally what we do is we'll create a boundary to the outside. All right, so but watch what happens if I create a boundary. So let's go ahead here, and I'm gonna go to my object. I'm gonna go to my shaping, and I'm gonna hit boundary. All right, so all that did was basically create a boundary. Oh, what happened here? You know what? Let me go ahead and get this guy out of here. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, so let me get rid of those outlines real quick here, and let's go ahead and create that boundary now. So notice what happens if I create a boundary here and I drag this out. Notice what happens is it actually created the outline of the hockey player as well. All right, so of course, if I want to add my stones now, this is what you're gonna add stones to. But all I want to do is add stones to the outside of this. I don't want to get the hockey player in there. All I want to do is just add a simple row of stones to the outside. So how can I go from this here to be able to create just a box on the outside? Now, of course, I know you can go here to our rectangle tool and basically create a box. But let's say this design right here. So let's say this design was like a curved design. So let's say instead of using that, let's go ahead and do this. So again, another cool little trick here, guys. Let's say if we're working with this design right here, and let's say we want to give this kind of rounded edges. So if you want to create the rounded corners here, I can go to my shape tool, click on the shape tool once, and then you'll see these boxes here in the corners. I can just go ahead and left click on those boxes and drag, and it's actually going to give me a cool looking rounded, kind of rounded corners there. So from there, I can go here, and let's do the same thing we just did, because I want to show you kind of a pretty cool trick here that we can, I think it's going to save you guys some time. So let's say we have this design right here, and we're just placing the hockey player right here in the middle to basically do the same kind of concept that we just did with the other design there. All right, so right there, let's go ahead and grab my Smart Fill tool here, change the color. Let's make that blue. Perfect. So now we have this design completed. So I'm gonna go here, shift click on the pink, on the purple, and just drag this out, and we're good to go. All right. Oh, you know what? Forgot to get the other pink again. So we'll go here and drag this out. So now that we have that part of the design completed there, now we need to create that outline. All right. So again, we can't do the boundary because it's going to select the middle guy. It's going to actually select the hockey player as well. But what I want to do, and of course, again, you can go here and kind of create a box, but that can be time consuming. We don't want to do things that are time consuming. So what can we do to make things a little bit easier? All right. So what I can do is I can highlight my design here. And then if I go to my rectangle tool here, so same rectangle tool that we were using, that we've been using this whole time, but the only difference is I'm going to hold shift. All right, so while holding the shift click or the shift key, I'm going to double click now. And when I double click, look what happens. It actually creates a box for me. See that? So now that we have this box created here, I can also now go to my snap tool and select objects. So now I know my objects are selected. So let's go back to my shape tool, select our little square at the top there, and if I hold shift, it's going to snap right to my object, and there we go, we're all set. So now I can go here, and now I can go ahead and add my outline of stones because it doesn't select the middle there. All right, so pretty cool little trick there by using that shift key and also left clicking on the rectangle tool there. All right, so now one thing that we always get a question about is how do we, once you have this image, once you have the split image created, how can we go ahead and fill the little hockey player in here? All right, because right now, notice how we have an opening at the top here and an opening at the bottom here. If I did my Smart Fill tool, it wouldn't work. See that? It only converts the entire inside, or excuse me, the entire blocks, not the actual player. All right, so quick little trick here to be able to fill this little silhouette in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and create a box here. So create a box there, and we're just gonna go ahead and create a box here. And that's all we need. So now I'm going to go to my Smart Fill tool and just click on the inside there, and there it is. So that easy to be able to fill in that little silhouette using that Smart Fill tool. So I can go here and change the color of that, and there it is. So pretty quick and easy by using, again, that Smart Fill tool to be able to fill that design in. So I can go here, and now we have a 3-color design rather than a 2-color design. All right. So again, that smart fill tool is actually pretty unique and pretty useful, especially when working in a lot of different categories. And again, if you're say you have a silhouette image, maybe you purchase the outline of just like a football vector file or like a football helmet, and you want to fill it in. That's how you work. How you would fill in that area would be with that smart fill tool. Um, Stefan, horizontal text between the two halves. Rudy, I meant you take a football and cut it in half, and then add text between the two halves, like a name. Oh, so you're saying like, so let's say you have a football. Let me see if I understand what you're saying there, Stefan. So let's say we have this design here, and that would be like your football, right? So this would be your football, and then you want to add something in the middle, so something like this, and then basically cut this out of there, and then leave these two in the middle like that, so you can actually add text in there. Or do you want to just add the text? So let's say we type in bears. All right, so one thing you can do is another cool little trick here, guys. Let's say I create a path. So let me go ahead and create a Bezier and then just create a quick straight line there. So watch this. If I select my bears here and I go ahead and I go to my text and fit text to path, and I select that path here, watch this. I can go ahead and just drop it on that path. And then at the top left-hand corner here, we have a couple different orientation or text orientation. But watch this. If I go to the last one on the bottom, that's my vertical text. So drop it on there, and then I can just go ahead and let's go ahead and double click on my path, get rid of that. Oh. And now we have our bears. So I can go from here now. Let's go ahead and shrink this down some. And let's say I want to add this right to that section right there. So we're going to bring this up here. And obviously that's not, you want to take a little bit more time to do this. But what I would do now is select the shift and then select my back object there. So now I have both selected. I can go to my object, shaping, and then I can do a simplify, which is basically cut that through. So that's how you would be able to show that, kind of let the shirt shine through as well. All right, so that would be using that simplify. Stefan, I'm not sure if that answered your question. Is that what you were referring to, being able to kind of take out the text and let the shirt show through? Okay, and if you have any questions, Stefan, just give me a call. I'll be more than happy to help you out with that. All right, Stefan, and I think I can help you with that. Just give me a call or give one of the guys in the call center a call, and we'll be able to help you out with that. All right. But I think I know what you're talking about. We're just kind of out of time now, and I do want to make sure I answer any more questions. If you guys have any more questions, again, there's a lot of different features to cover in CorelDraw. We touched just a few of them, but again, great questions from everybody. Appreciate everybody who joined us today for the webinar. Looks like we did run a little bit of a time, but again, if you guys have any suggestions in regards to future webinars, let us know. That's what we'd love to see, recommendations and suggestions, because that's the only way we know what you guys want to see. So shoot us emails. Just say, attention, Rudy. Hey, this is what we want to see in future webinars. I'm actually getting ready to do the webinars for the next few months. So shoot me some emails. Give me some ideas. Be more than happy to cover things that you guys want to be able to use. So definitely let us know what will benefit you guys, what will help your business grow, and let's go from there. So again, let me go ahead and go over the cheat sheet real quick, Stefan. I know you mentioned that before, so I want to show you guys the cheat sheet real quick. So under the TRW Stone Wizard, or excuse me, the TRW Rhinestone World website, we have our tutorials here, and all the way at the bottom of tutorials, we have documentation. So if you click on documentations there, we have our TRW Stone Wizard and Corel shortcuts. All right, click on that. And we have our PDF file right here with a lot of different shortcut keys for you guys, and also some shortcut keys for the wizard as well. All right, so that's gonna be very useful for you guys, especially if you're just starting out with Corel. A lot of great little tricks there, a lot of quick shortcuts to help you toggle through the designing process and get a better understanding of that designing process and make the designing process less overwhelming, especially when you're just starting out. All right. And yes, Stefan, go ahead and print this out, put it right there above your computer, and you always have it there to reference back to it. Now, of course, you also have the TRW Stone Wizard shortcuts keys right here, which you also have all these keys, guys. You can also find, if you have the wizard, you can also find down at the bottom of the wizard is where you'll see a lot of so let's say I have the wizard up right here. Down here we have this kind of progress toolbar, progress bar right there kind of tells you the progress of the designing, and if you're placing stones or creating a mock-up, it tells you the status of that. But it also tells you what each tool, or if a specific tool has some different shortcut keys to it. So like the TRW magic templates here, if I hover over it, notice it says right-click mirrors, shift-click adds registration marks. So that right there, you know, hey, right-click is going to mirror it. If I right-click on that, it's going to mirror. If I shift-click, it's going to give me registration marks for my decals or for my sign decals. When will the new wizard be released? It's still soon. Actually, Kate, it's a lot now. It's actually realistic. We got some. We're testing it out. We got a lot of cool features. As you can see, Matt actually posted a picture today. He was working with it today, doing some different shirts. There in the training room. So it's actually it's becoming much more of a reality now. And again, it's gonna be very, very cool. We just had a little training session last week on it. And again, it is going to be, again, we don't have the release date yet, but I can tell you right now, we're a lot closer than we were last week or the week before, because now we're actually testing it out, and I can tell you it's going to be pretty sweet. So stay tuned. Again, it's going to be, we do appreciate everybody's patience, but I think you guys are going to get a lot of, I think you guys are really going to benefit from it. Stefan, there will be a price increase. Now, the great thing about it is, if you guys ever work with the software, you'll know that if you're working with it now, if you purchase the older versions, we'll never charge you guys the same amount. You'll only pay the difference. So if you come out with it and it's $399 or $379 for the update, or for the upgrade, I'm sorry, then you're only paying that $100 different if you already purchased it for $279.99. All right. All right. So is version 3 of the wizard going to require X7? Stephanie, it's gonna require X6 and X7. I know we were working on some different issues with X5, so I think it's still gonna work with X5 as well. Excuse me. But yes, it's gonna work with X6 still and X7 for sure. And I believe it is gonna work for the X5 as well. All right. So and yep, absolutely. And that's one of the things we wanted to make sure that we didn't rule out everybody that was working with X5, and that's one of the reasons why it's taking so much longer to code it out, is because of that. X5 is a little bit outdated, so some of the features weren't correlating with the macro as well, so we had to recode everything. But again, it's gonna be a great software, and we're pretty excited to show you guys. But again, I appreciate everybody coming by. Appreciate everybody's time with us. Appreciate everybody's patience waiting for the software. And again, shoot me some emails. Let me know some suggestions. I'll be more than happy to add those to the list of webinars coming up. All right, guys. Again, stay tuned for the recorded version, which is going to come out 24 to 48 hours. We'll get that uploaded on the YouTube channel. And then we also have a webinar on Friday. It's at 2 p.m. It's going to be covering digital mockups. All right, so digital mockups right here in the TRW Stone Wizard. We'll be covering all those, covering this basically this whole entire window here. I'm going to basically dissect it and show you guys some cool things that we can do with that window, and how that window is going to really benefit your business and grow your business and make you guys a lot of money in the long run. All right, guys. So again, thank you everyone for joining me. We'll see you Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We also have our lounge tomorrow night. We do have a late night lounge tomorrow night. It's going to be myself and Lisa. We'll be talking all aspects of the industry. We'll help you guys with any questions you guys have, do some giveaways. It's a good time, so make sure you guys stop by. It's 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Again, it's going to be live right here from the TRW headquarters, basically showing you guys. It's going to be a live feed. You guys can ask us questions. It's a pretty laid back atmosphere, but you guys are going to get a lot out of it. Just come ready with all your questions. We'll be more than happy to answer those for you guys. And also come with your luck, because we'll do a lot of giveaways. Maybe you guys will win something as well, okay? All right, guys. So again, thank you all for joining me. Have a lot of great things. If you guys haven't checked out the in-house trainings, make sure you guys do so on the website. If you guys think it's something that's going to help your business grow, then I definitely recommend it. It's going to be a great time showing you guys a lot of great things, a lot of great ideas, a lot of sharing basically a lot of knowledge, which is always good. So stay tuned, guys. Again, we have a lot of great things coming to TRW. Also, we have next week the Philly show, MBM Philly, booth 413. We're going to have 2 seminars there. If you guys never stopped by the seminars before, they're great, great learning experience. Matt's a great teacher. He's keeps you motivated. Keeps you going and gets you hyped up for, to get this business going and going to the next level. So check it out, guys. Those are free to attend. So if you guys are in the Philly area, make sure you guys stop by and check them out. Again, see you guys all next week if you're going to be in Philly. And then also on Friday and tomorrow we have webinars. So we'll see you guys there. Have a great week.